back, and we back. Zeus P, Tank Jew. Let the light in, man. It's the 2-hour lunch break, dog. I'm locked in. So turn your speakers up a notch and grab the white gin. And when I'm on the road to the office or the crib, it's Big Zeus, Ain't Jew, the ones I wanna hear. This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lake. Coming to you live, putting on for the city. This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lake.
And it's coming home to Texas. It's coming home all the way to Austin, Texas, baby.
We are back with another edition of the 2-hour lunch break podcast, a podcast from Austin for Austin, shared to you around the world. We're here at home base, Dawah Studios on the east side of Austin, Texas. I am Saint, one half of the 2-hour lunch break, and I got my co-host.
Try with Zeus.
And we got a good guest. I'm talking about a good one. We got an All-American that's from Pflugerville High School. We got an All-American that is from the University of Texas at Austin, drafted to the Arizona Cardinals in the 4th round of 2013 NFL draft. And he's also played for the New Orleans Saints, Kansas City Chiefs, and also won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. And we want to honor him in the building. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is everybody ready for this?
Yeah.
Are you sure everybody ready for this? I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Alex Okafor for joining us in the building. How you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm doing well. That was impressive. I appreciate you listing off the accolades.
Hey, man, that's a big deal, man. Thank you for coming, for real.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. So, we appreciate you, taking time out of your busy schedule. We know you're a man of many talents. You got a lot of pots on the stove, so I know you took time out of your busy schedule to chop it up with us, share some vibes, share some good convo. So, with that said, man, let's get right into it, right?
Yep.
So, he listed off your NFL accolades, All-American accolades, all that, right? So, now that, you're no longer in the NFL, you're retired at this point, right? So, with that said, though, you're launching into new endeavors off the field, right? So I know you have the Alex Okafor Family Foundation, right? And you're running for the Pflugerville ISD school board.
Yep.
What inspired you to do that?
Man, we could take it back all the way when I was in school, but I'm Nigerian. So if you've spoken to Nigerians, like, we take academics seriously, and it's not by our own choosing. It's because it's forced upon us. So I've always been a good student. And throughout college and my journey in the NFL, I've always came back to Pflugerville ISD and provided and created opportunities for students. So now that I'm done playing and I got a little bit more time on my hands, I kind of want to take that to the next level, and I feel like this is the time to do that.
Nice. So what inspired you to create and cultivate the Alex Okafor Family Foundation, and why did you choose to partner with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society?
Yep, so you got it right. I partnered with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and taking it all the way back to 2020, it's when I won the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs. We got that first one. I know they win them every single year now, but I was a part of that team that got the first one, that got over the hump. But that offseason, my mom had passed away from AML, which is acute myeloid leukemia, which is a blood cancer. And kind of my way of honoring her was to, create a foundation and create opportunities for other people with that foundation. So seeing how she's linked to blood cancers, I decided to reach out to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and we started collaborating, and we launched a scholarship program where college students can apply for $7,500 scholarships. And we nominate, I want to say, at least 100 students every year for that. So it's an amazing opportunity for both me and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and it started with honoring my mama.
That's beautiful, man.
Okay. So kind of, taking a step back a little bit, I know we were talking about the Pflugerville, running for the Pflugerville ISD school board, right? So what was like the spark that said, hey, I want to get involved in, local politics?
Right.
Was there like an event, or is there something happened to, spark that off?
Yeah, so it's I think it was 2 years ago, but like I've said, I've done a lot for my community and my school district, and one of those schools is my elementary school, Spring Hill Elementary. I've hosted multiple book fairs there. I've started a reading program there. So I had got news 2 years ago that the district was thinking about shutting down the school.
Oh, right.
And I was like, come on,
I
remember that.
I didn't put way too much into this to go ahead and shut this thing down. So I went up to one of the board meetings, said my piece, and really kind of dove into the process of like how all that works. And that moment right there is kind of what started my, my journey to where I'm at now.
Gotcha. That's what's up. How do you believe your background in professional football uniquely equates you or qualifies you to serve on the school board?
One is I know how to lead. I've seen some of the best leaders in life. I've played with Drew Brees. I've played with Tyrann Mathieu. I've played with Pat. I've played with Travis Kelce. So I've seen what leadership looks like, and I can take that and implement it back into my hometown. Also, too, being a professional athlete, I know how kids look up to me, and I understand my influence, and I know how to use that influence for good. And I want to take that and kind of leverage that within my school district. Gotcha.
So, I know with this election, it's my understanding that you're running unopposed.
Yep.
Right. So with that said, though, what is like your vision? Because at this point, you basically you have the position at this point.
Right.
Manifesting that.
Right.
As long as I vote for myself.
Right. Yeah, there we go.
I'll win.
So with that said, though, what's your vision? For yourself at once that position kicks off? I think it's like May 1st or 2nd. What's your vision for yourself?
So 2 things. Obviously I have personal goals and I have aspirations for the school district, but the 2 biggest things that I want to focus on with this is, one, just showing the kids that I care and showing them that somebody important cares about them, and somebody that our community, our neighborhood is important enough for somebody like me to come back and dive and pour into that. I want the kids to be able to see that. I want them to be able to see me lead. I want them to. I want to be able to show them that I care and that we can achieve great things within our community. 2 is, I know you were talking about Pflugerville Conley, and it was funny. We had a conversation before this podcast started where you were like, back in the day, back in 07, Conley was like that. And now, something has kind of changed. And that's where I'm at, because I went to an older school, too. I went to Pflugerville High School, which is the OG school within the district.
I got you.
I had the one up.
I saw that.
That's right in there.
Slight jab. That's all right.
Right. But no, so with us being a part of those older schools, you see within school districts, they start losing resources. People start moving out the community, stuff like that. So I kind of want to take it upon myself to make sure that we continue to give attention and give support to these older schools, because that's where I came from.
That's real. That's true. So let's say, for example, what are some of the key issues that you believe Pflugerville is facing? And which I would guess to say, what would be your approach in addressing those, and how you would look at the school board role or position in affecting change?
Yeah, so the biggest issue is budgeting, but every district in Texas deals with budgeting, so we can't even call it an issue. So we kind of got to move past that. But specifically for Pflugerville, what I see is I've talked to a bunch of teachers, and we're not hiring good teachers right now. Like the bar or the baseline for teaching within the district, and I don't know if it's across Texas, but I know specifically within Pflugerville, we're not getting those high quality hires like we used to do. And we got to figure out how to get that going again, because obviously teaching, and specifically teachers, affect the youth. They affect how great we can be. They're literally instilling these principles into us. So you can't slack off within the hiring process. So we got to find a way to not only hold the good teachers that we have, but find a way to hire and add more within the district.
Okay. So side question, right? And this is my own personal curiosity, right? Since you've first started running your campaign, what has the reaction been from the local community? And I ask that because you don't necessarily, like, even just aesthetically, right? You aren't necessarily the norm that comes through, the Pflugerville ISD school board. You're young, you black, for all intents and purposes, you're as different. You're right. You're an anomaly to the Pflugerville ISD school board. How has the reaction been to you? Has it been positive? Have people been like amped up, like, oh man, we got Okafor from the Chiefs pulling up, Has there been some negative opinions? What has that experience been like?
I think it's all been positive, and that's I'm grateful for that. Like, that shows how much love and support that my community gives me. But also too, it's been positive because people have seen the work that I've put in over the past decade, over the past 15 years plus. I've created opportunities for students. I've said it before. I've done multiple book fairs. I started the Kingdom United Reading Program at Spring Hill. I've spoken at anti-bullying seminars at the school. So I've done a lot. So when people heard me toss my name into the hat, obviously it was nothing but joy. It was nothing but support, just because they know where my heart's at. They know there's no hidden agendas. They know I want to make the school district better. Yeah. And I'm grateful for that.
That's what's up. That's good. That's good. How do you balance your commitment to public service, your philanthropy, and your personal life, especially with the podcast and other venues that you have? How does that work-life balance look?
Yep. Well, for me right now, I'm fortunate enough that I made enough money in the league that I don't have to start working right away, or at least I don't have to make a buck. Right. Like I'm always working, but
that
I
man
don't
said
have
he
to,
budgeted it.
Right. I don't have to bring in any revenue right away. So I'm blessed within that, and that gives me the opportunity to kind of chase my passion. And so, kind of answering the question that you said, how do I have time for all this? This is all fun for me. So I mean, if you can fill your day up with just things that you enjoy, then like they say, you never have to work a day in your life. So I might be busy running around, but it don't feel like I'm busy. It feels like I'm having fun, man, and it feels like I'm living life the way I want to live life.
Hey,
so.
Okay. So I know Saint brought up the podcast, man. So let's talk behind the face mask, right? So let's talk about the journey. Was there anything that sparked like, hey, I want to get into the podcast game? And since you started that, what has that experience been like? I know you've gotten several players from the University of Texas. Like, how has that been so far?
Yeah, it's been cool. So with the podcast, the way it originally started was once I did retire from football, like I said, I didn't have to jump into anything right away, but I knew I kind of wanted to have a post-career involving sports media. So I don't know where that starts for me. I don't know what it looks like for me, but I know I want to be either in front of a microphone or in front of a camera. So for me, I needed to create a platform for myself, and starting a podcast was an easy way for me. Not easy, because y'all know the work behind it. But it was a way for me to, put my face and really start building my platform and my brand. And that's kind of how it started. And man, I've had a blast with it. You always get nervous with starting something new and launching something new. Y'all can say the same. You don't know how that response is going to be. It's like, damn, I don't want to put this thing out there and it only gets 5 views. That's the scary part. But once you actually do it, once you dive into it and you see the feedback, and once you stay consistent with it, that's when you really start seeing the growth within what you're doing. And I'm having fun with it.
That's awesome.
So I was gonna say, man. So kind of piggybacking. I didn't mean to cut you off. Who are some notable guests that you had on so far?
Yep. So I've had, I'll list them all out. I want to say I've had 6 episodes, and it was Big Tavondre Sweat, D tackle. I had Jordan Whittington, receiver. Okay. Jade Barron, safety. Yeah. Jonathan Brooks, running back. Byron Murphy, D tackle, and Michael Taft, safety. So those are the 6 players. Yeah, those are the 6 players that I started with right there.
Okay. That's a good conversation right there to start off. And that man says just starting off.
Yeah, just starting off.
This is light work. It's light work.
Because the whole starting defense.
The reason why I say starting off, because I don't know if I want to stick strictly to sports. Yeah. So like when I say starting off, I had a pool of players at UT, and it's like, okay, I need a guest. Let me start with, what I have access to. Gotcha. So I did start in the football realm, but eventually I might want to cross, genres and stuff. Okay. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it's very clear that you're not one-dimensional, so definitely don't want to put you in a box in that regard or aspect. So that's a beautiful thing, though. I think starting that podcast is influential. So shout out to you, and I pray nothing but success for it. Reflecting back on your NFL stories, though, and your NFL experiences, what lessons have you learned that you can say that you can apply to your current endeavors?
What lessons did I learn? I learned a lot of lessons, man. I think the biggest lesson I learned that you can take from the NFL is being ready for the moment. So like everybody has aspirations of being on the field. Everybody has aspirations of starting. Everybody is salivating at the bit trying to get on the field, but when that day does come, are you going to be ready for that moment? How you going to play? And basically what that just means is, are you prepared? Like you don't, like, everybody wants an opportunity, but when you get that opportunity, what are you going to do with it? So playing in the league has kind of taught me that, when it is my time, I need to be ready. I don't know when that time's going to be, But when it is my time, I better make sure that I am ready to take advantage of that moment, or it's gonna slip through my fingertips. So,
got it. Okay. So another question, right? So, high school All-American at Pflugerville, All-American at UT. So just off the strength of that alone, you've been, kind of looked at as a de facto leader in whatever community that you're in at the time, right? So with that said, though, how do you think those experiences have shaped your approach to like leadership and community involvement?
Can you say the question one more time?
I'll say, how have your experiences as a leader, playing football, how has it shaped your approach to leadership and community involvement?
Yeah. So the best leaders that I've ever experienced in football, the number one quality that they've all had is they get the most out of everybody around them. Like they elevate everybody around them. Like the best leaders, they're gonna handle their business because that's what they do. Right. But what really separates that 1A leader and that 1B leader is, how do I elevate you? Like, how can I take you further than that other leader taking his teammate? So applying that to my community, how do I get the most out of PFISD? Like, how do I get the most out of my school district? How do I get the most out of our students within the school district? That's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about being able to lead, taking my experiences from the NFL and uplifting the community in a way that it hasn't seen. And I'm prepared to try to get the most out of each and every individual in there.
That's beautiful. Now I gotta be honest. I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question because I've got a 16-year-old son, and he's a football fanatic, and he's playing football right now. He used to play for Pflugerville, and we moved to Round Rock. Now he's playing for Round Rock. As a professional athlete, talking to a youth athletic child, what would you tell that person or people on or off the field to succeed? What a piece of advice that you've gathered from your journey and experience that you would tell that young athlete?
I would say two things. I'd say one, make a realistic plan for yourself, and keyword realistic. And two would be, if something changes within that plan, be ready to pivot. So going back to the first point, I tell athletes all the time, young athletes, like, you got to know where you are at the high school level. So if you're an All-American guy type like me, then, you're going to have the pick of the litter. You're going to be able to go where you want to go, but you need to put yourself in a position to go where you want to go. Now, if you're a tier down and you might be a D2 athlete, you got to recognize that early. And instead of going to all of these D1 football camps where they're going to keep overlooking you, you need to put yourself in a position to win. And that goes back to having a realistic plan. Now, let's say you get hurt on the field. Now, part two to that, you got to be ready to pivot ASAP and figure something else out. So that's kind of my advice for up and coming, student athletes.
Gotcha. Okay. So I got another side question, right? Yeah. So I know kind of, going back to the, running for the Pflugerville ISD school board, right? So I'm curious. I know you have, your wife and child. I know you got your family.
No kids, just a wife.
Oh, my bad. I thought you had a child. My bad. Let me run that.
Hey, if Lord's willing, hopefully soon.
Right. Yeah. So I know you got your wife. I know you got your family. Right. What was their reaction to you pulling out the idea of, hey, I'm gonna run for the Pflugerville ISD school board? What did they say in response to that?
Yeah. So the people closest to me, it didn't surprise them. I think it was the people just outside of that, like, warm circle that I kind of caught them off guard, because obviously like we discussed, academics has been huge for me, and I've done my best to try to create opportunities for other people. So people closest to me knew that this was kind of something that I had interest in. Whether they knew I wanted to run for an official position, I don't know if they knew that, but they knew this was something that I was really passionate about. Gotcha. So it didn't surprise them. But the people that are just outside of that warm circle, that kind of know me but don't know me that well, it's kind of like, oh wow, what made you want to do that type thing. So those were kind of the reactions.
Got it.
I've got another question that's off hinge a little bit. Being an Austin native, right, and you've basically you've traveled the world, you've been everywhere, right? What made you say after your career, I'm coming back to Austin?
Yep. Well, one, it's home, Pflugerville.
Yeah.
That's that. And two, it's where I'm strongest at. So it's my hometown. I went to college here. I got a little bit of name recognition here. So I'm not going to be stronger anywhere else around the world than I am here. So I might as well come back home, uplift my community, and try to leverage my name to create opportunities for myself as well. And, you know, that was my thought process with moving back home permanently.
Okay. So, kind of piggyback on that, right? So I know you're recently retired, from the NFL, and I know any former athlete knows that once you kind of step away from the game, there's an adjustment period. You kind of go from being full-time athlete to regular civilian, right? So with that said, since you've got a chance to live that experience, what do you think are some of the most pressing issues for guys that are getting ready to come out of the league?
Yeah, no, this is a good question. Like, I feel like you could have almost a whole separate episode for this topic right here. Man, it's so I think there's three things that kind of gave me the most trouble. One is that as professional athletes, we've been in athletics our whole life, and that has carried us our whole life. We've never had to do anything else. Right. Now, maybe some of us had a high school job. I worked at JCPenney. So that's the extent of my work experience right there outside of athletics. So once you're done playing, you go back into the real world, it's like you're a rookie all over again. And that's a little frustrating because you view yourself, you've put in all this equity and you view yourself like this, but you go back to that, you go back to the non-athletic world, and now that's you down there.
Oh, you want a Super Bowl? Cool.
Cool.
Anyway,
we'll start you off at this position right here.
Right.
So that's tough right there. Wow. Another thing that's difficult with transitioning is, I would say, just like temperament and mindset. So like in football specifically, I don't know about any other sports, but football specifically, like, if you want to get something done on the field, most of the time you can lock in and push harder to get that done. And usually, whether it's anger, whether it's animosity, whatever it is that fuels you, something inside you can usually fuel you to take that next step. When you get to the real world, you can't just muscle everything. You can't just push through everything. You can't just get upset and think I'm work through this overnight. It don't work like that. So I had to learn that the hard way. Sometimes less is more, and you learn that exiting the athletic world. And then last but not least, not specifically for me, but it's just some good advice just for all professional athletes, and specifically football players, is you got to have cash flow when leaving the league. So like, everybody loves to make that that sexy investment. Oh, I want to own a nightclub. Oh, I want to own this restaurant, that. But if it takes you 10 to 15 years to see some returns on that investment isn't doing nothing for you right now. And if your checks then stop coming because you're not playing no more, you need something to come in the mail. And that's usually how people get in trouble. It's because they'll invest. Like, it's not that they're not investing, they're just not investing in things that give you immediate returns. And you gotta have some type of mailbox money while exiting the league. So
that's big. Another follow-up question, and I feel like, again, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this question.
Go ahead.
What does winning a Super Bowl feel like? Fam, like, because I was a hooper, okay? I used to play basketball. Didn't go far. Didn't make it to the college league. My brother over here, he made it to college football, and just wasn't 100% of a fan. He was just like, I'm doing it so I can get to school for free. Right. And after that was it. What is it like for that person who pushes forth and gets to that next level, and then not even just that, achieves the ultimate greatness on that level? Talk about it.
Yeah. First of all, shout out God. I'm blessed.
Amen.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, what does winning a Super Bowl feel like? I will say everything surrounding the game feels like the Super Bowl. So the media activity feels like the Super Bowl. The people that are wanting to see you feels like the Super Bowl. The attention you're getting feels like the Super Bowl. After the game feels like the Super Bowl. The celebration feels like the Super Bowl. But the actual game just feels like a normal game. Really? Like, it feels like any other game.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And it's, I mean, you've put 10,000 hours. That's what they call it, right? 10,000 hours to master something. You've put 10,000 hours into your craft, so it's just another day on the job, and that's what it feels like when you're on the field. But as soon as you off the field, now you start basking in what comes with that Super Bowl, and you get to enjoy it a little bit.
Okay. So, kind of shifting gears a little bit. Let's talk the future, right? So, in the short term, you got behind the face mask. You got your campaign for the Pflugerville ISD school board, right?
Yep.
With that said, though, what does a long term look like for you? Like, for instance, what does 5 years down the line look like for Alex? What does 10 years down the line look like for Alex?
Yep. I could tell you what I think it's going to look like, but ultimately I don't know. Like I said, I'm always ready to pivot, no matter what happens. But in a perfect world, I would love, to be a sports personality, whatever that looks like. If that's on the radio, I'd be a sports personality on the radio.
Yep.
If that's in front of a camera, if that's locally, if that's nationally, whatever that looks like, I want to be a sports personality. And the reason why I want that is I want to be able to stay close to the game without having to coach. I don't feel like coaching at this point in my life. So I think being a media personality gives me the opportunity to stay close to the game without, putting in them coaching hours.
Gotcha.
I feel you. ESPN, holla at my boy.
Right. Yeah. Let's line that up.
With that being said, we had a great Q&A session. Thank you so much. We're going to shift over to our this or that segment. Again, it's a rapid fire question. Whenever we ask the this or that, answer it and then provide your personal feedback as to why. You ready?
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. Let's go. Friday Night Lights or Super Bowl Sunday?
Oh, Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
The Friday Night Lights, you get that every Friday. Super Bowl Sunday, you might not ever see a Super Bowl in your career.
True.
So I'm going to go Friday Night Lights.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool.
Gotcha.
I think I already know the answer. Coaching or playing?
Playing. Hey, hey, not that I won't ever do it, but coaching ain't for me right now.
I got you. Respect.
Let's go next one. We got podcasting or public speaking.
Wow. Both of them are so much fun. Public speaking. Public speaking just because it's different being in person.
Right.
Like you can have a bigger effect speaking in person. Like you can make the audience feel you. Sometimes it's hard to translate that energy through a screen.
Right.
So public speaking for sure.
Gotcha.
Scholarship or mentorship?
Wow. Scholarship or mentorship? Man, are you talking about specifically for me?
Yes.
Wow. God, you gonna make me look selfish, man. I'm gonna have to take that scholarship, man. And mentoring is huge for me. Like I got 3 students right now at Pflugerville High School that I'm mentoring, so we can't lose the importance of that. But in this situation, I'm gonna have to put myself first, and I got to educate myself properly before I can help educate others. So I'm gonna say scholarship.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's go community involvement or national advocacy. Which one do you think is more effective?
Community involvement. Easy. It starts at home. Like what am I gonna do on the national stage if I ain't even put any work in at home?
Yeah.
Like so. Yep.
Draft day or election day?
I'm gonna have to go draft day for sure, man. I mean, as important as the school board is for me, when I was a kid, man, I wanted to be a professional athlete. So that achieving my dream is one of the greatest feelings ever. And I'm sure I'll be able to reach some of those heights at the next level. But as of now, I'm gonna say draft day.
Got it. Okay, next one we got on-field success or off-the-field impact.
Y'all giving me some tough.
Hey man,
like y'all gonna make it seem like I'm a me guy. Like
this is what we do. This is what we do.
What was the question? What are the 2?
Let's go. We got on-field success or off-the-field impact.
God, man. I'm gonna say off the field impact. I'm gonna switch it up for this one, just because no matter what I did on the field, my hood was always gonna love me, and it's because of the type of person I am and the support I got in the community. So I'm gonna say off the field impact.
I got one more for you now, and we'll shift. Quarterback sack or watching your teammate help you win the game?
I really want to answer this question.
Yeah, I know you.
I really want to answer this.
It depends how my teammate gets it done.
I got you.
If I can create that opportunity for him, I'm gonna take that because I'm gonna get to share that moment with him. But if it's something that ain't even got nothing to do with me,
he said, "No,
I'm gonna take that
keep
sack.
me mine."
Come on, let me get that sack.
So okay, because I'm dying to answer this, bro. Keeping it a buck.
Yeah.
If it's me, I'm gonna say quarterback sack, dog. Because like the experience of getting a quarterback sack, like a home free, like
Yeah.
1-on-1,
Yeah.
and you get free, bro. For me, as a football player, dog, it's one of like the craziest. Like I felt like when I would turn that corner,
Yeah.
I felt like the volume got turned off. Everything goes quiet.
It's just
You know
you and him.
ball,
And
baby.
then, like literally, the second you make contact with the quarterback, the volume turns back on, bro. And like you hear everything at that.
I've never heard anybody put it like that, but that's as accurate as it
Yeah.
gets. Like when you win,
Yeah.
and you turn that corner and you see a clean line to the QB,
man.
like, like he said, it's almost like that white noise.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah,
nothing matters.
It's
You
a
just-
wild experience, bro.
I had to
Wild
ask the
experience.
question because I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
this has got to be one of those questions. That,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
you think about all the time, especially if you're ever in a game setting. You know, so, but yeah, thank you.
I will say this to clean up my answer a bit. I'm gonna say QB sack every time, unless my pressure leads to a pick six. So
There
if
we
we can get a
go.
pick
I
six,
like that.
I'm gonna take
I'ma
that
take
over
it.
the QB
Yeah,
sack.
I like that. I like that. Okay, there we go. All right, man. Let's go ahead and shift gears. Let's do the final question of the night, right? So I'm sure Saint gave you the rundown before we got started, right? So this question, we hit every guest that comes through with the same question, right? So you got a chance to chop it up with us, have good convo, good vibes, right? So with that said though, who do you think will be a good guest for the podcast? But before you answer,
Okay.
it has to be somebody in your phone that you could be like, hey, I pulled up on the 2-hour lunch break. I had an amazing time. You need to pull up on those guys. Who would that person or people be?
Yep. Okay. I got two guys in mind.
Okay.
I got one guy, both guys I played with at Texas.
Okay.
I'm gonna say there's a guy named Jeremy Hills who was my trainer all throughout my NFL career, and just recently, over the past couple of years, he opened up his own gym called Collective.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a good sit down.
Kane's footwear. as
Or
well.
the only thing about him is, and he gonna beat me up. Kane's footwear too.
Yeah.
He might be too busy.
Yeah,
So I'm
he
gonna
might-
give y'all. I'm gonna give y'all
Schedule
option
crazy.
B. I'm gonna give y'all
Schedule
option
crazy.
B.
Yeah.
Option B. I'm gonna give y'all my bookend, Jackson Jeffcoat. He just recently retired this
Okay.
year, so like a couple months ago,
Yeah.
and he's literally looking to take that next step post playing career.
Yeah.
And we was tight like this in college.
Right.
I went the NFL route. He did a little NFL and then became a legend in
Yeah,
the
CFL.
CFL. So
Yeah.
like he has a really good story to tell, and
what's up.
I think it can complement and contrast mine at the same time. So those would be my two recommendations.
There we go.
I'll reach out and I'll see who bites.
Yeah, let's
Tap
do it.
in with
Let's
it,
do it.
man.
Let's do
For
it.
real.
Let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Yep. So I'm on Instagram. I think my Instagram handle is just at Alex Okafor. I'm on Twitter. I want to say my Twitter handle is Okafor57. And then my YouTube channel is Behind the Facemask. So just type in Behind the Facemask and my channel will pop up with the interviews.
There we go. All right, man. Well, that wraps up this edition of the 2-Hour Lunch Break podcast, man. Once again, shout out to the homie Alex Okafor for taking time out of his schedule to tap in with us. Shout out to our production behind the boards. You can find them at Cafe Yodo. Shout out, our home studio, Darwood Studios, Eastside, Austin, Texas. Episodes to the 2-Hour Lunch Break can be found on all streaming platforms. You can find us on Instagram at 2HLB Pod and on X at the 2-Hour Lunch. Thank you for tuning in. We out.
Peace.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
Thanks, man.
Hey, that's a good one, bro.
And it's coming home to Texas. It's coming home all the way to Austin, Texas, baby.